Investigators would not elaborate on what the relationship may have been between the two, and they would also not say whether they believe her body had been in that wooded area for the last 10 years. However, family members of Trina is telling us it's Sutton's nephew that told police about her body being concealed there in the woods. Prosecutors have charged him with concealment. Trina's family telling us today they are relieved to have some answers.
It's insane. He's been disturbing. My daughter was 6 months. She don't even know the grandmother. It was sad.
Thank Pontoon Beach for finding my mom the way they did, and they moved very, very quickly, and they did their job, and they were determined to find out who did this. And I just want justice, and I want this person to never get out of jail ever. Even the other person that was with him, I don't want any of them to get out of jail because both of them plays a part.
Patrenia Butler-Turner was 40 years old when she disappeared. The mother of 3 lived in Illinois and was a former housekeeper. On January 17, 2013, Patrenia left home to walk to the store to grab some milk. She was last seen hitching a ride and getting into a red pickup truck in St. Louis. She was never seen again. After failing to return home, she was reported missing that same day. Her family knew that the loving mom would not just vanish on her own accord. For 10 years, Patrinia's family never found out what happened to her, until now. In December 2022, authorities received a tip about skeletal remains concealed in a wooded area of Pontoon Beach off of Illinois Route 111. Police received DNA results on January 31st, 2022, confirming the identity of the remains, and they charged 55-year-old Roger D. Sutton the next day. Roger, who was from Pontoon Beach, was already serving a 2-year sentence for drug-related convictions and would have been eligible for parole by Valentine's Day. His nephew, 32-year-old Nathan J. Byer, was also charged with concealment and is accused of helping hide the body. Detectives declined to elaborate on how evidence connected Roger to Patrinia's unaliving or what the relationship between Trina and Roger was. Trina is survived by 3 children and her 4 grandchildren. On March 14, 1984, police were called to a Charlotte apartment. When they arrived, they noticed that the door was slightly open and a foul odor was coming from the home. When they walked in, the scene was even more horrific. They discovered 27-year-old Sarah Mobley Hall and her 10-year-old son Derrick Mobley strangled and unalived in their home. Sarah was described as outgoing and well-liked. She was a special ed teacher at the time, and her son Derrick was one of her students. For nearly 40 years, their family was left with no answers. But on February 1st, 2023, James Thomas Pratt was arrested and charged with taking the lives of the young mom and son. James was arrested at a hotel in York County, South Carolina. So according to the CMPD, this is the first time in North Carolina that an unaliving has been solved using familial DNA testing, meaning that investigators were able to match DNA from the crime scene with a relative of James that's in a nationwide database. James was 22 at the time of the incident and an acquaintance of Sarah. James has been extradited back to Mecklenburg County and is currently in the Mecklenburg County Jail, where he has been held without bond. Amanda Gonzales grew up in Madisonville, Texas, and had been a straight-A student in school. She was described as a firecracker, always standing up for others, and very independent. She had dreams of becoming a physical therapist for children, but also loved to travel. So when the opportunity came for her to join the U.S. Army in 2000, she could not resist. She planned to use her GI Bill to pay for college and become a physical therapist. She was only 19 and a few months into her first assignment in the Army when she called her mother to tell her that she was pregnant. She was very excited and even planned to name the child Alicia Marie. When Amanda didn't show up for work as a cook at an Army base in Hanau, Germany, on Monday, November 5th, 2001, soldiers broke the door to her barracks and found her unalived. Her unaliving was ruled homicide by suffocation. 2 decades went on and no one was ever charged. Amanda's mother and stepfather did not give up hope though. They tried their hardest to keep the investigation alive. They would write letters to shows like America's Most Wanted and Dr. Phil, but the case remained cold. But in February of 2023, Amanda's mother Gloria received a call that she had been waiting for 21 years. Shannon L. Wilkerson, a former member of the Armed Forces, was arrested on February 23, 2023 for the unaliving of Amanda Gonzales, on November 3, 2001. Shannon was discharged from active duty in 2004 and even had opened up a gym shortly in Alabama around 2015. So Shannon is charged under the Military Extraterritorial Jurisdiction Act, which gives U.S. federal courts jurisdiction over crimes committed outside of the U.S. A motive has not been revealed as of now. Amanda was 4 months pregnant when she was unalived. Shannon is charged with one account of first-degree unaliving. If convicted, he faces a maximum penalty of life in prison. According to court records, he has pleaded not guilty.
Worst nightmare.
Her family for 21 agonizing years, asking questions and getting no answers as investigators made no arrests.
And it was just the same call. Once a week, I'd get a call, answer it, I'm you, okay? It was the same story. It was like a recording. Every time we go visit her graveside, I tell her, I'm not giving up. I am not giving up.